Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's live lesson for grade 6 through 8. My name is Mrs. Jones, and I will be your teacher today as we continue working on our text-based informative/expository essays. Now, there are a few materials that will be helpful for today's lesson. If you have your writing folder handy where you have been keeping your text sets, it would be great to get that out now. You will need both your Moon text set and your Gold Rush text set. You will need our previously completed ITC outlines and the essays that we have been writing. Today, we are going to be writing the very last paragraph for both of these essays, and that is our conclusion paragraph. So let's get started. All right, now if you have been taking notes along with us today, or this whole session, I should say, we have been jotting down some helpful notes in our writing notebook that we can refer to later on when we're writing independently. Today, let's go ahead and take some notes on how we should structure our conclusion paragraph. So you will turn to a blank piece of paper and you will write a heading of conclusion. Now, just like when we talked about writing the introduction paragraph, we spoke about how there are countless different ways we could structure the introduction. Well, guess what? There's countless different ways we could structure a conclusion. If 20 of us were writing conclusion paragraphs for the same text set and prompt, all of our conclusion paragraphs would sound different. There's lots of different ways we can organize or structure a conclusion paragraph. But there's a few pieces of information that should go into every complete conclusion. Every conclusion paragraph should contain a summary of what the whole essay was about. We should restate our controlling idea or our central idea when we are writing a text-based expository or informative essay. And finally, we should wrap up our conclusion paragraph in some way that leaves our reader thinking. We want to create an ending to our essay that is satisfying, that creates a sense of completeness in our reader so that they know when they read our very last sentence that the essay is not over. We never want to leave our reader hanging and have them finish our essay and go, well, wait, where's the rest of it? There has to be more. It doesn't seem like it's over, right? So the structure we are going to be using today is very simple, and it accomplishes all of those objectives that I just stated. So the conclusion paragraph that we will be writing today is going to begin with an overview or a summary of the topic. Okay, so this is what the entire essay was about. So this would be either a summary of the Gold Rush text set or a summary of the Moon text set, because those are the central ideas. That is what the entire text set and prompt directed us to write about. After we summarize the topic, we are going to restate our 3 topics. So this would be T1, T2, T3. So at first, we're going to write a summary of the main idea, what the whole essay is about. Then we're going to restate the 3 topics we wrote about in T1, T2, and T3. After that, we are going to include a thought or a feeling about the topic. So this would be a thought or a feeling about the Gold Rush or a thought or a feeling about the Moon. And then finally, we're going to have an ending sentence. So the conclusion paragraphs that we will be writing today will be at least 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences in length. Now they may be a little bit longer. For example, we may take 2 sentences to write a summary. That's okay. Or we might write a 2-sentence thought or feeling. That's okay too. But at a minimum, our conclusion paragraph will be 4 sentences. So go ahead and make sure you have all of these notes copied down into your writing notebook, and then we're going to get started. Started writing our actual conclusion, I should say. All right, everyone have their notes finished? Excellent. Now, we are going to be continuing with our Gold Rush essay. So if you have been writing the essay along with me, go ahead and get out your essay now. Now you can see mine is all kinds of color coded because every time we wrote, we were sure to review what we had written, right? And we did a quick self-assessment using some kind of color coding. So today, I am going to write my conclusion paragraph. Now, my T3 paragraph ended on the very last line of this piece of paper, which means I will have to go to a new piece. Of course, you will only do that if you also ended on the last line. If not, you will simply go to the very next blank line on your piece of paper, clearly indent, and then begin your conclusion paragraph. So I'm going to clearly indent and start my first sentence of my conclusion about an inch or two in from the left-hand margin. Now, I have my writing paper. What else do I need before I'm ready to write? Who thinks they remember? What do we call our map for writing, where we organized everything we're going to write about before we started? Do you remember? That's right, our plan. We need our ITC outline. And boys, this thing gotten messy by now. That's because we have been working with our plan right next to us the entire time we have written our essay. Our plan is our map for our essay. It tells us how we want to begin. It tells us every topic we want to write about along the way. And finally, our plan is going to tell us how we are going to end our essay. And today we are ending with our conclusion paragraph, which is what we wrote next to C on our ITC outline. So of course, I'm going to have my plan right next to me while I write. And I also need to have my text set close by. All right, so let's get started with our conclusion paragraph. I'm going to get all of my papers organized. Now, what is our very first sentence of our conclusion? A summary of the topic. So I'm going to begin my conclusion paragraph with a transition word. I could start with in conclusion to wrap it all up, in summary. I think I'm going to start with the transitional phrase to conclude. So I will write my transition and then I will put a comma. Now I am ready to write my summary sentence. So to conclude, the gold rush, and I want to make sure I capitalize the gold rush because it is a proper noun, was a historical event that impacted the migration of people and the start of many businesses. All right, so that is my overview sentence. To conclude, the gold rush was a historical event that impacted the migration of people and the start of many businesses. I think that summarizes what the whole text set was about and what my whole essay was about. So now I'm ready to go to the next part of my conclusion paragraph, which is where I'm going to restate my 3 topics. And that's what I wrote about for T1, T2, and T3. So here's where I need my planning outline. So T1 was all about where gold comes from. T2 is all about the 49ers, and T3 was about the businesses that developed or were begun, I should say, in California during the gold rush. So my T1, my T2, and my T3 topics are what I'm going to restate now in my conclusion. I am not going to be restating my details and examples. I won't be mentioning my subtopics in my conclusion paragraph, just like I didn't mention my subtopics in my introduction. I am simply going to be restating the 3 T's. All right, so back to our writing paper. Now, I don't want to just copy my 3 topics the way they were written in my introduction. I don't want to use the same words because when we repeat ourselves, when we say the same thing in our conclusion that we said in our introduction, that's quite boring for our reader, right? I know when I'm reading a book, I don't want to read the same thing over and over. Do you? Now, when we use the same language or the same vocabulary over and over in our essay, that's actually called repetitive vocabulary. And that's something that we want to avoid. So in my conclusion, when I'm restating my 3 topics, I'm intentionally going to choose different words to write about those topics. I'm going to use what I know about synonyms and be very strategic in my word choice. So I think I'm going to say there is much history around gold. Because of how it is created and found. So that's my T1 topic. After this, I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm going to restate my T2 topic, which is the 49ers. So I'll say the 49ers, making sure to capitalize that because, again, it's a proper noun, who came to California in search of it. So that's my T2. Put a comma, and now I'm going to list my T3, which is, let me look back at my plan, all about the business. And I'll say, and because of the businesses that came about from it. All right, let's reread this sentence, make sure it sounds correct, make sure I didn't leave out any words or word endings. There's much history around gold because of how it is created and found. T1. The 49ers who came to be in California, or who came to California in search of it, T2, and because of the businesses that came about from it, T3. Excellent. All right, we're halfway done. What comes next? A thought or a feeling. Okay, so now we need a thought or a feeling about California and the gold rush and the search for gold. How about we share a thought about gold? What if we said something like gold is a precious metal, or I should say mineral. That's a word from the passage, is a precious mineral that still has much worth today. All right, so that's my thought or my feeling about gold. And then finally, we need one more sentence. And what is that? Our ending sentence. Let's wrap up this conclusion paragraph. Let's finish this essay. Let's say many people continue the search for gold because of its value. All right. So that concludes our conclusion paragraph. We just finished our Gold Rush essay. Can you believe it? In less than 6 weeks, we wrote an entire essay from start to finish, and we only met for half an hour twice a week. All right, so before we move on to our moon text set, we have to do a self-assessment, just like we always do. So I'm going to use highlighters to clearly show you the organization or the structure of the conclusion paragraph we just wrote. I'm going to begin by highlighting my summary in pink. So that is the very first sentence. I'm going to underline that sentence instead of going through it with my highlighter. All right. Now the second part of our conclusion is going to be where we restated our 3 topics. So let's go back and highlight that part in our conclusion. So the very first topic, our T1, is how it was created and found. Our our second topic, I should say, our T2 is the 49ers. And then our T3 are the businesses that were created. Now, notice that my 3 topics match the 3 topics from my ITC outline. So what I wrote next to T1, T2, and T3 is what I wrote in my conclusion paragraph. But I intentionally used different words to restate my topics than I did in the introduction when I stated them the very first time. All right, the third part of our conclusion paragraph will be our thought or our feeling. And I'm going to highlight that in green. And finally, the fourth part of our conclusion paragraph is our ending sentence. So I'm going to highlight that in yellow. All right, everyone. So this is the conclusion paragraph structure we learned today, and this is our example paragraph. Now I'm going to leave that displayed because it is now your turn to practice writing a conclusion paragraph. So you will now need to get your Moon text set, your Moon ITC outline, and your Moon essay paper. So this is your Moon text set. This is your ITC outline. Now, remember, yours may look different than mine, and that's perfectly okay. You might have used the same topics as I did. You might have chosen your own. Either way, it's fine. Just take out your ITC outline that you've been working with, and then take out your Moon essay. I'm going to give everyone about 5 minutes right now to write their Moon conclusion paragraph. You're going to write in pencil or in pen, so don't use colors. We'll use colors afterwards when we self-assess. Right now, you're going to write in pencil or pen, and you're going to write a summary of the topic. You're going to restate the 3 topics, write a thought or a feeling, and then an ending sentence. And I will leave this displayed in case you need to refer to it while you write independently. Go ahead and begin now. Everyone, we have about 1 minute or so to finish up our conclusion paragraphs. If you need more time, that's okay. You can always finish it after we do our self-assessment. Okay, everyone, it's been about 5 minutes, so go ahead and pause here. Again, if you have not finished writing your conclusion, that's okay. We're just going to self-assess what you have done. So if you only have half of your paragraph done, that's okay. You're just going to check the first half, and then you can finish it later on today. All right, please grab 4 different color highlighters, crayons, markers, or colored pencils. Select one color. Now I selected pink. You can pick any color you want. Just pick one color and please underline your summary sentence. So this will be the sentence where you talk about the main idea or the central idea of the entire essay. So the central idea is always going to be what the prompt told you to write about. In this case, it's going to be all about the moon. So go ahead and underline your summary sentence now. Excellent. Now select a second color. I picked blue. You can pick any one you want. Just pick a different color and underline where you restated your 3 topics. So this is where you wrote or restated your T1, T2, and T3 topic. Go ahead and underline that now, please. Excellent. Now go ahead and pick a third color. I picked green. You can pick any color you like. Now let's underline our thought or our feeling. So this should be a sentence where you wrote a thought about the moon or life on the moon or your feeling about life on the moon. Underline that sentence in a third color now. Very good, everyone. Okay, finally, go ahead and pick a 4th color. So I selected yellow. You can pick any 4th color you want that you haven't used yet and underline your ending sentence now. So this is the very last sentence in your conclusion paragraph where you bring your essay to a satisfying close. All right, everyone, fabulous job today. I am so proud of your effort and hard work writing these conclusion paragraphs for our text-based informative or expository essays. I will see you on Thursday for our final lesson. We will be reviewing and revising our Gold Rush and Moon essays. I'll see you then. Have a great rest of your day.